Where's Clayton? 6 o'clock. And I'd just like to share with everyone, I didn't have an opportunity to thank all of my colleagues up here, Ms. Candace, Ms. Michelle in her absence, and also Mr. Lered in accepting your new seating position. It's a years-old tradition here for the council chair to kind of assign seats and things like that, but most importantly, to invite change and create an atmosphere of cohesion, you know, in the differences that we might have here on the council. And also, I'd like to thank our staff for all the dedication and work they did in changing out the electronics and making the seats viable for each of us that accepted the change. But at this time, I'd like to extend the olive branch to our parish president to see if he would come up here and join us on the dais, which is the sacred desk up here behind the with the council members, and that's to promote that cohesion here with the council. But at the same time, I'd like to let everyone know that if not, that seats up here, the lights won't be acknowledged this evening at the meeting. So with that being said, I'd like to call to order the Terrebonne Parish Council meeting. We'll have an invocation by Mr. Clyde Hamner and pledge allegiance by Mr. Clyde Hamner as well. Give me a light, Clyde. Give me a light.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and guidance as we are gathered here to address matters at hand. We ask that you clearly show us how to conduct our work. Help us to work together and encourage us to challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be, keeping the good of Terrebonne Parish in mind. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Hamner. Miss Charlie, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hamner, Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thanks, Miss Charlie. Mr. Hampton?
Yes, sir. Just a little housekeeping for the council. This is a public notice to please be advised that the governing authority of the parish of Terrebonne, state of Louisiana, may hold a public meeting to consider the call of an election with regard to certain taxes at its meeting on March 11th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. at the Government Tower Council Meeting Room, 8026 Main Street in Houma, Louisiana. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Approved minutes of the special session condemnation hearing held on January 13th, 2026 at 2026. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, Mr. Babin?
Yes, I want to make sure I heard what you said earlier, that if the parish president puts his light on, you're not going to acknowledge the parish president?
The parish president's light is set up here. So with that being said, we're going to move forward with the meeting.
No. I need to ask that question. If the parish president is down there and puts his light on, you're not going to acknowledge him?
I'm not going to acknowledge that light because it's set up here. Mr. Babin, listen, this is what we're going to do.
When do you have the authority to do that, Mr. Chairman? No, it's not a point of order.
Mr. Babin, we can discuss this at a different time. We can set up a meeting to discuss this, but this evening, we're going to carry on with the meeting. If not, Mr. Babin,
Go ahead and say it.
if not, we're going to take other measures that shouldn't be even discussed up here.
Well, I tell you what,
All right, so with that being said,
you have
Mr.
a lot
Babin.
to learn about a government,
Point of order.
okay?
Follow the agenda.
Again, Mr. Babin, that's your second point of order directed towards you. We're not going to entertain this evening at the meeting. We're going to carry on with the agenda. Members, vote your machines.
I have a light. When do I get
The
a light?
vote is
Oh, it's on.
Mr. Bazron.
Okay.
Not right now, Mr. Bazron. The vote is 9-0. Motion passes. Approve the minutes of the regular council session held on January 14th, 2026. Move, Mr. Carl Harding. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Distribute minutes of the special session condemnation hearing held on January 27th, 2026. Distribute the minutes of the regular council session held on January 28th, 2026. Already done. Approve the accounts payable bill list for 2/2/2026 and 2/9. I'm sorry? Okay. 2/2/2026 and 2/9/2026. Motion by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Miss Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Steve, you have a light? Yeah. Okay. Let me vote. Can we vote first, or? All right. Mr. Harding? Vote. The vote's 8-0 with one abstention. Mr. Steve Trustclair?
Yes, thank you. I want to apologize, but I want to go back to the very opening of the meeting. I tried to get my light on, but it wouldn't come on.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Hampton read a tax resolution, and it didn't say what the tax, where it was for, and this is the first time it's ever happened. I just want some clarification of what he was.
Put your light on, Keith. Go ahead, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, sir. This is in preparation for the millage renewals to be held later this year. We needed to call the public hearing so that we can then put that on our agendas and have it included on the ballot for later this year.
Understand. Thanks a lot.
All right, so we're good there? All right. I'm sorry, Miss Candace, go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, sir, thank you. I just also want to know that the millages are just renewals, so it's not anything new. It is a requirement that we make this public notice that we're going to have a public hearing later, but it's renewals, it's not anything new.
We're all good on that? Okay. All right, general business, proclamation proclaiming the month of February 2026 as Black History Month in home of Terrebonne. Mr. Carl Harding.
Yes, thank you, sir. It's a great honor to actually do this as a native-born American. City of Houma, Louisiana, Parish of Terrebonne, a proclamation acknowledging Black History Month. Whereas, while the month of February is recognized nationally as Black History Month, the achievements of African Americans are recognized and celebrated 365 days a year. And whereas each year, Black History Month is recognized with the intention of informing and acknowledging the contribution of African Americans, inventors, educators, physicians, politicians, musicians, actresses, actors, producers, etc. And thereof informing the history of America. And whereas it is hoped that during the Black History Month, the citizens of Terrebonne Parish take the time to learn about the rich legacy that influences many of today's inventions, innovations, and whereas for teaching future generations, citizens, and encouraging and sharing information for their historic past about the contributions of African Americans. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council on the behalf of Parish President Jason W. Bergeron and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that the month of February 2026 be hereby declared as Black History Month in Houma, Terrebonne. Be it further resolved that the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government honors the significant contributions and advancement made by African Americans in Terrebonne Parish. Presented this, the 11th day of February 2026. It is signed by Parish President Jason W. Bergeron and Council Chairman Mr. Brian Pleasure, supported by the other members of this particular council.
Can you? Okay, y'all ready? On three. One. Okay, hold on. Yeah, push over. Make sure I see everybody. On three. One, two.
State your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Kennedy Dunaway. Good evening. On behalf of NAACP Branch, President Jerome Boykin Sr. and the Youth Council, Director Diana Collins, I'm honored to accept this recognition during Black History Month. My name is Kennedy Dunaway, and I proudly serve as the President of the NAACP Youth Council. We are grateful for this honor and for the continued support of our leaders, mentors, families, and community. This moment reminds us of the sacrifices, strength, and resilience of those who came before us, and the responsibility we have to carry to move their legacy forward. This award belongs to every young person who chooses to lead, serve, and excel. We are committed to uplifting our community, standing for justice, and creating opportunities for future generations. I would like to thank the TPCG Council Board and Board President Brian Prezer, Carl Harding, and President Parish Jason Bajeron. Thank you for believing in our youth. Thank you for supporting our mission, and thank you for celebrating Black history, not just this month, but every day. God bless and thank you.
Diana Collins, 1123 Dewey Street in Houma, Louisiana. I just rise to say thank y'all so much. Y'all been supporting us for 20-something years. And I'm proud to say that I love my Terrebonne Parish and I love this council board. I've seen some go and I still see some here. Some of y'all still here. But I want to thank y'all for everything y'all have done for me in the past. Candace is my girl. That's my girl. But anyway, I just want to say thank y'all again. And anybody have any questions? This is my vice president. This is the president. And this is the chaplain. He loved to pray. We ain't gonna pray tonight. Come on, let's go.
Go ahead, Mr. Harden.
Yes, Ms. Collins and the rest of the youth. When this particular occasion came up and it was thought to present it, and who else but the youth of the future? Because the way this world is today is the fact that we have to celebrate 365 days in the year. That first of all, we are human beings of the planet of Earth, and the fact that we are here in Terrebonne Parish to acknowledge the contributions. If you can go back to Martin Luther King Day and hear this young lady speak, she's someone to reckon with for our future. And I myself is not only proud of her, all those that are out there with them, and we're looking forward to seeing them take my place up here. So thank you very much for coming, Ms. Diane.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Item B, Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission to provide an update regarding airport efforts.
Hey everyone, we appreciate your time tonight. My name is Josh Alford. I'm the chairman of the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission, and I have Ed Jarvis here, who's the executive director. So talking about our youth, we're working on the future at the airport. And when I got on the board roughly 10 years ago, can't believe it's been that long, we started investing in this opportunity with drones. It had been on the drawing board for a long time, but we weren't turning any dirt or had any projects going. So we started off with an investment of $250,000 into an EDA grant, and we're successful, got that $1.3 million. At the same time, we got the governor here to appoint us as the large UAV airport in the state of Louisiana. Since then, we have been going for Section 937, which is a test site. We would be one of 8, Ed, There are 7 in the country, but none of them are over a large body of water. So none on the Pacific, Atlantic, or the Gulf of America. And so we're still going after that test site designation, and we've made a lot of progress toward that. This other opportunity came up, which I have some flyers. I wasn't able to give them to everyone, but I have 100 copies, and everyone's welcome to them, to let you know the opportunity that we're going after now, which is going to be announced March 3rd. And it's the Trump administration's executive order unleashing drone dominance, which the program is called EIPP. And so what that allows us to do is essentially the same thing the test site designation would allow us to do, except it's going to allow operators, private companies, to operate for profit. So it's even more incentive to come to HOMA and operate within our airspace to be able to develop prototypes and protocols for the rest of the country to follow in the airspace, integrating drones into the airspace. So it's a huge opportunity for Louisiana and HOMA to be the leaders in the country to develop airspace regulations for the future. And it's going to attract a lot of companies because the opportunity here will only exist 4 other places in this first designation. And we would, again, be the only one over a large body of water where we have a lot of the infrastructure in place, the safety protocols, because when you fly off of our airport, you don't necessarily have to fly over any housing or things like that. So it offers us a huge transformative opportunity. And the thing that I'm asking from everyone, anyone you can get your hands on, is to apply the pressure to our federal delegation. I've been in constant communication with them. I've written a personal letter that Congressman Higgins has handed out. We've given these flyers to everyone we know, and I think it's going to make a difference whether they get 5 phone calls or they get 50. And with our representation in Washington, D.C., there's no reason we should not get this opportunity. We've spent the last 10 years checking all the boxes and doing what we need to do, investing quite literally a couple $1 million. And this is our time to bring the future here. All the high-paying jobs, the companies that don't exist here, they're on that page, and there are going to be many more. But those are the ones that have pledged, once we get this designation, that they'll have to be operational within 90 days. So those are companies that are not here that would be coming here and have pledged to be operational. So this is just the start. And again, it's a huge opportunity. So any help we can get, we're asking for it. And really appreciate your time. And I'm going to let Ed give a little bit more of the technical side of things. I know enough to get myself in trouble. So I appreciate your time again.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So, interesting enough, the FAA is now going out to the experts. As you know, sometimes when government tries to help out, they don't do such a good job. So they've decided to name 5 locations within the United States to, over the next 3 years, collect data, do testing, and provide our recommendations back to the FAA as to how we're going to integrate these drones that have nobody flying them, and then the airplanes and helicopters who have pilots, and how do they coexist together in the airspace. And based on our recommendations, then there'll be rulemaking, and they'll change rules and make those changes, and then it'll be like anything else. It'll be an everyday thing. But the next 3 years will be critical in terms of us testing new technology, testing these different vehicles to see how they integrate into the system, the radar, the ADS-B, all the multilateration sources, what is it that's missing, and how do we ensure to the public that when you get into one of these drones, whether it's an Uber type or not, that you feel relatively safe to go from point A to point B. And so that's going to be very critical, because if we screw it up and there's an accident, then we're going to be set back. And just look at what's going on with the cars and all the hiccups that have happened and people gotten into accidents and stuff like that. So automation is a great thing when it works, but fortunately, they decided to let those of us that are in the field do the actual testing and make recommendations. So that's what we're going to do. And as Josh talked about, you know, one of our main goals here is to keep our young people here in Louisiana. Well, the only way you can do that is to be able to promise new technology that excites these individuals that want to stay and learn. And oh, by the way, I need more than $15 an hour if you want me to stay. So bringing in these companies and getting this technology is going to improve the STEM programs. And I think it's going to excite, just like the videos and the iPads did when they first came out. Now you don't see a kid, I mean, most kids know those better than us adults. And so drones will be the new future for them. We're doing a lot of exciting things at the airport. We have about $12 million worth of projects that are ongoing. And we have at least $30 million that we've asked the state of Louisiana for some additional work to improve the airport. And I get out, I get to Baton Rouge, I go up to DC, I talk the talk and walk the walk and answer questions to get folks excited about getting Louisiana on the fast track. With that, I'm here to answer any questions. I could go on for 30 or 40 minutes. I was at a Rotary yesterday and I spoke for 41 minutes. And then I was at a chamber meeting and it was an hour. So I got the gift of gab, being a former mayor and council member. So with that.
Okay. Mr. Steve Trosclair?
Yes, thank you. Fortunately, I don't have a question. I just want to say I'm excited to say that actually I was on the council that appointed Josh to the commission, and also on the council when this project really started getting off the ground. And, you know, every council since has been in total support of this, you know, of this drone and unmanned aircraft venture that we're going into. And I know we got some more lights, but at this point, I'm gonna make a motion that we get a letter drafted from the council and sent to all of our delegation and maybe even our neighboring states delegation to show that we are in total support and asking for their endorsements of this program and being here and located here in Terrebonne Parish. So that's the motion, and we can probably listen to the rest of the lights before we move on it. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on it now, Mr. Trosclair, since we did that on the motion. We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Steve Trosclair to draft an official letter in support of our Terrebonne, the local airport in their efforts. And we have a second by Mr. Clyde Hamner. Members, can you vote your machines?
You want to listen to comments before we vote?
Well, yeah, we'll get some discussion going first, and then we'll vote on it after. Okay. Mr. Harding, go ahead.
No, she was first.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're gonna discuss go ahead, Ms. Chauvin.
Okay, so one of the questions I would have is Woodlawn Ranch Road. Are we gonna move on that before we start testing in that? Because you talked about, you know, like accidents and not wanting these things to happen. And I think this is a great idea, but I also am kind of wondering what are we gonna do with that portion of Woodlawn Ranch Road to get people?
So I've already had a meeting with Jason, and I left it to him and council to decide when they want to close that road.
Is there something specifically that the parish needs to do in that manner, or
I
do
think
we
condemn,
just?
condemn the road. We were waiting for the
I'm
SIA,
awesome at that. Hold up.
and we were waiting for the SIA bridge to be completed. That was
That's done.
initially the holdup, and so I think it kind of got lost since then. But
Oh.
to answer your question directly, it's not a concern, the safety protocols that are going to take place. There are going to be a whole lot of safety protocols that have been developed and will constantly evolve through the process. So no one
Right.
needs to be concerned about anything.
Okay, so,
like that.
so the basic question is just like the when is the road going to be dealt with? And really just to give you more space and do what you have to do.
And I think we're ready and willing as soon as y'all are, and it hasn't been pressed by us.
Yep.
So we're absolutely willing to have that conversation.
Okay.
And let me just add, so right now, we're in the midst of updating our airport roadmap.
Okay.
So as part of that, there is a plan to extend our runway 3,000 more feet to the south, which definitely will go through the road in question. It's not going to be an immediate thing, but it is going to be on the books, and it'll be funded related. So with that, again, we just told the parish that, hey, when you're ready to do it, you have our blessing and our support, and we don't need it immediately, and leave it to you to decide.
But sooner rather than later.
Well, yeah, that's how I always look at it, but
But it's not holding us up at all at this point. But it's good to get back on the agenda.
oh,
We
yeah.
will eventually have to move the bayou if we're going to extend the runway.
We're just going to move
Yes.
it to the more direct south and
Just a
then
little.
hook it back in, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Harding?
Yes, I'm glad you had this presentation and the knowledge of it and how we're making our expansions toward the future. And I'm glad these young folk are here. Just while they're here, I see that the airports that we're actually dealing with, that GAO, that's Galeana, so you got 4 airports on the Gulf Coast that we're actually dealing with, but then we are the largest, and so therefore we are the flagship of this particular type project, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Our geological position is the best for what's going on.
All right, and the other thing I want to mention while they're here, the academic research and the work forces, they have Mississippi State, Texas A&M, 2 local, basically universities, Nicholls State University and Fletcher Technical College. And that's more of a local thing, and it doesn't necessarily say if you go here, because we have, Fletcher has an agreement with you guys that's actually creating the aviation on the airport, and it doesn't necessarily say that you have to go through a 4-year college, and then actually, if you work with these drones, that you actually have an opportunity to provide for your livelihood upwards from $80,000 up. So therefore, I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's for them to actually hear this, and thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And just to add to what you were saying, a little bit of the letter I wrote for Congressman Higgins to distribute is to say, you know, I'm 32 years old and I've seen half of my friends leave this area because the opportunity that they were looking for wasn't here. And I see that continues to happen. So what better place to bring opportunity, and also on the east side of all places needs the biggest investment. So to bring that here and to place it on the east side where that's going to be the core, and then talking about all the academic partners, the private partners, all the partners on there, that's just the beginning. That's just who signed up on the submission. there are going to be many, many more that are added to that list as this evolves, if we get this, when we get this designation.
Mr. Clayton Wazan, you finished, Mr. Harding?
Yes.
Mr. Clayton Wazan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to say I've discussed this with Josh numerous times. We had some pretty lengthy conversations. I was getting educated on this, and I'm through our discussions, along with Mr. Cohen Guidry and Tita, has played a pretty big part in this as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Him and his
Absolutely.
staff?
And just to add to what you're saying, Cohen's been instrumental in bringing together the different entities that, you know, I feel like we've always been disjointed. So he's brought together the airport, the port, the parish, and Fletcher. And I know that will probably evolve just on a monthly phone call so everybody can tell each other what they have going on and what opportunities we can go after together. Because that's a huge differentiator when you're submitting for a grant, whether it's just the airport or whether all these other entities can benefit from it.
Yeah, and I don't know the numbers of people this thing could potentially employ in Terrebonne Parish, but I'm going to make an assumption that it's a fairly large number.
Between 400 and 1,400, adding about $32 million to the payroll and economic 100.6 million, according to the Department of Aviation in Baton Rouge, who have crunched all those numbers.
And I knew if I mentioned it, you'd say it. So thank you very much.
I'm always prepared for these.
Look, I want to encourage the public as well.
Yes.
You know, if you watching and hearing this, and you've ever thought about being civic-minded in this community, now's your chance. Write your federal delegations letters. You citizens sometimes have more power than us elected officials. When they see it coming from the public and the government, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, folks. Listen to what I'm telling you. If something like this really interests you in this parish, now's the time to get involved.
And
Please.
the announcement is March 3rd. So anything you can do between now and then, it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you for adding that. So ASAP, folks.
And what I'd like to
get
say
it
to
done.
folks is, look, anytime you want to come to the airport, you know, we're happy to host, whether you're one person, multiple folks. We like showing off the airport. We like answering the questions. There are going to be at least 4 or 5 more public hearings that we're going to do at the airport. So the public is going to be able to give input into where the airport's going, say 15 to 20 years. And so we're excited to talk about that. Again, we're working that, and that's why the Woodland Road that we were talking about, you know, with the financing and everything, you know, that's probably at least 5 to 7 years. And that's would be the earliest. So I didn't want to ask for something and then you're saying 2 years down the road because you're catching heat from those individuals, hey, when is this all happening? And then, as Paul Harvey would say, here's the rest of the
That's the rest of the story. Yeah, and I'd just like to also say, don't go thinking this is all technical jobs. I mean, there's going to be a lot of tech jobs, of course, but there's also going to be skilled and unskilled labor jobs, lots of them. So just don't go thinking, well, I don't know nothing about computers, so there wouldn't be a job for me. There's going to be a lot of different jobs and good paying jobs. So thank y'all so much for y'all efforts. I'd like to invite Mr. Guidry up.
And this is only going to further support the oil and gas industry that is located here because they're going to be able to take advantage of this technology. in a big way.
Thank you. So I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but a
Yes,
segue.
yes, he does.
Well, it's
He does
something
this all the
that,
time.
that you guys, that fits right in there. It's a segue. We've got opportunity zones that are in Terrebonne Parish. And right now, they're on the other side of Bayou Terrebonne, New Orleans Boulevard to Hollywood Road, which encompass Lake Holmes, and then another one in the northern part of the parish. Nobody seems to know who picked these zones. They were part of the governor's office chose them. There was nobody in the parish that I've been able to find that had an input in it. 2017 is when they went in. They're going to expire in 2027. So as part of the big, beautiful bill that they're going to renew them. So we got ahead of it in January and went to LED and the governor's office and said, we want to be able to participate and tell you what we need as a community instead of somebody throwing a dart at a map to say, oh, we think this is what you need. So the new proposed site, and they run with census tracts, and we haven't gotten those new maps in. We want to move one of these opportunity zones to the Main Street corridor that goes across the intercoastal all the way to the airport and to the industrial area along where La Chip and all those areas. And what these opportunity zones do is they give tax credit to companies who want to come in and revitalize an area that was once strong. And it's a great incentive to be able to give that back to this community. And that supports exactly what they're doing. I mean, it's one more reason to have a company go to the air base and say, we want to renovate this building. They can tear it down and they can build a new one as long as they're improving that property. So had a call with LED today on it on some updated, because I asked for updates. We were supposed to have the census maps sent to us at the end of January. We hadn't seen them yet. So there is some new software that they're playing with. The cutoff is going to be June of 2026, that we have to have it submitted to the governor's office, and we're hammering on them every day. We've got local help from it. We've got regional help. So we're on this every day just to support what they do. And I think that the Triad group, we're doing great things. So thanks everybody for who's involved.
It's not really a triad group anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, it started out with 3, which was the triad, and everybody kept jumping on saying, that's a great idea. I want to be part of it. So,
And I'm not trying to hijack your meeting, I promise.
No, you're
But
good.
one key part that I did leave out is the submission is a Louisiana submission. So it was not Home and Terrebonne Airport that it's being submitted by. It's being submitted by the state of Louisiana, LADOTD, and we are the point of contact. And so the governor is on this, LADOTD. We had to get the Surgeon General. We had to get a letter from him because there are a lot of medical applications, so on and so forth. But I just wanted to add that. And also the test site, the 937, we're not abandoning that. We're pivoting to this. And if we're successful in getting this, it will most likely lead to that 937 designation, which we've been after this entire time.
Okay. Mr. Hamner?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to Mr. Trosclair's motion. It was, Steve, that's a great idea that you had to do this letter of support. And here's why. I did have the opportunity to talk to Steve Scalise and Mr. Higgins and Senator Cassidy. And they very attentive, I told them, and I knew just enough about this handout that you gave me a week or two before, like you had said earlier, to get myself in trouble because they started asking me questions. And, of course, I'm good at faking it sometimes. Anyway, but I told them, one thing that came clear to me, and this is why this is really good, is that they need to be constantly reminded because they're getting hit up all the time. And then to follow up on your comments about citizens writing, that's important too. The more letters that they get, the better it is. It's going to be on their brain. That's just a little bit teacher in me. You say it enough times and you write it enough times, and you put it before them. They remember it when that vote comes up on March the 3rd. That's all I want to say. I just thought it was a great idea.
And thanks, everyone, I know the parish president brought it with him. You brought it with you. I think Ms. Kim brought it with her. And I know Jessica Domain has written personally to the delegation. I'm trying to get some other delegates to write personally, make phone calls, emails, whatever the case is. And then got to give kudos to the governor. He's been heavily involved. And who am I missing? I know we have a whole lot of people. So Senator Cassidy has been very involved. We've had multiple phone conversations, and he's personally reaching out to the Trump administration because it's going to boil down to Secretary Duffy and the Trump administration.
That's any other comments from the council members? Mr. Bazran, you have something you want to add to that, maybe?
Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to commend them on the hard work they're doing. Whenever I went to DC last year, I brought Andrea with me and brought her into every office we could and talked about how important it is for the airport and drone system that they have. I just want to make sure Ms. Kim had a question. I wanted to clarify. If we closed off Woodlawn Ranch Road today, and correct me if I'm wrong, it could be 5 to 7 years before something gets built out. So it is a conversation of balance to make sure that we do close it out when it is needed, not too early to affect traffic, but early enough to make sure that their funding is able to be used and the runway is able to be extended.
Mr.
Yes, you're exactly right. So I think that's why we've kind of been on the radar with, the Saya Bridge and other things, because we do want to make sure y'all don't close it down and then get a lot of flack for no activity. So, well, we would rather give you the flack that's justified. When you close it down, we're ready to go. So,
Okay, Mr. Babin?
Yeah, I just want to mention what Colin brought up just a minute ago about the economic zones. We were in a meeting 2 weeks ago, Colin, but about, Colin, excuse me, Mr. Guidry, it makes it easier. 2 weeks ago with an investor from California, and one of the first questions he asked were about the economic zones in Terrebonne Parish. So investors that come into this parish are definitely asking about those things. And this individual that we are working with right now is going to spend some money here in Terrebonne Parish. So when we get these things moved, I think we'll be in much better shape as a parish. So thanks for your work.
Oh, my pleasure. It's doing my job.
and
Okay.
we're a federal trade zone as well.
Foreign trade zone.
Foreign trade zone, sorry.
I have one question for you guys and a comment after that. How many flights are in and out of the airport there in Houma?
In 2025,
Get to your microphone,
yeah, I'm an air traffic controller, so we don't usually, unless we're talking to airplanes. So for 2025, our traffic count ended up at 92,000 operations. That's one takeoff and one landing. Last year in 2024, that was about 57,000. So we almost doubled it.
Okay.
And we're projecting for this year probably to see it anywhere from a 15 to 25,000 movement increase.
Okay. Yeah, I've just visited your airport just on yesterday. Me and a couple other folks, mayor of Lockport too as well. See you're building some stuff over there too, and that hangar is probably the cleanest hangar I've ever seen. You know, it's really, really nice. It's really nice what you guys are doing, and I encourage and support, as with the rest of the council, as we are going to vote on a motion for support, a letter of support to you guys for all your efforts. But I'll also like to share that in you guys' discussion and kind of explaining things to us here, myself and my colleague, Ms. Kim Chauvin, was talking earlier, and she looked at me and I looked at her when you guys made a comment about something. So now me and her can work on some stuff too that's going to kind of help us out in our districts, kind of sharing space together. So, but thank you guys. No other lights, no other.
To add to your point,
Yep.
largest heliport in the entire world, unless somebody can prove us wrong in terms of operations,
I believe you. There you go.
right
Nice.
here in Houma.
That's good. That's good to know, and that's something to brag about. That's something to brag about. Absolutely. So with that, we have a Bunch of robust discussion that we've had. We have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Can we vote on that motion? Motion's 9-0. Motion passes. You're going to get our support. I'm sorry? Okay, motion by Mr. John Amity to go out of regular order.
Thank you all
go
very
to
much.
6:30 public hearing. Second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. 6:30 public hearings. Item A, an ordinance to authorize the parish president or his official designee to accept and execute on behalf of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government a grantee, a servitude, and right-of-way agreement with Hoscat LLC and to address other matters relative thereto. First call public. Second call public. Third final call public. Motion to close by Mr. Voisin, second by Ms. Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion to adopt, Mr. Voisin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Item B, an ordinance to amend the 2026 adopted operating budget and 2026 five-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items. Item 1, Series 2025 sales tax bonds, $25,964,089. First call public. Second call public. Third final call public. Motion to close, Mr. John Amity. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0. Motion to adopt, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Second, Mr. John Amity. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Ordinance passes. Item C, an ordinance to amend the 2026 adopted operating budget and the 2026 budgeted positions of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items. Item 1, utility administration. First call public. Second call public. Third final call public. Motion to close, Mr. Kevin Champagne. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Motion to adopt, Mr. Kevin Champagne. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. I'm sorry. Item D, an ordinance to amend the 2026 adopted operating budget and 2026 five-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items. Item 1, Whitney Building, $422,375. First call public. Second call public. Third and final call public. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Motion adopted by Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Item E, an ordinance to amend the 2026 adopted operating budget and 2026 five-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following item. Item 1, chiller, air handler, jail, $441,810. First call public. Second call public. Third final call public. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Item F, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, and Michael Fitzgerald for the continuation right of use of 701 Central Avenue, Houma, Louisiana, 70363, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program within Terrebonne Parish. First call public. Second call public. Third and final call public. Motion to close, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Second, Mr. Kevin Champagne. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Motion to adopt, Mr. Kevin Champagne. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. An ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, and Pauline and Claude Luke Jr. for the continuation right of use of 110 Indigo Street, Dulac, Louisiana, 70353, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program within Terrebonne Parish. First call public. Second call public. Third, final call public. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item H, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, and Vigia and James Beach for the continuation right of use of 214 Bayou Gardens Drive, Houma, Louisiana, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program within Terrebonne Parish. First call public. Second call public. Third and final call public. Motion to close, Mr. Clayton Voisin. Second, Mr. Excuse me, guys. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Are you okay, Brian?
I got the hiccups.
All right. Members, vote your machines. Okay. Motion, votes 8-0, motion passes. Motion to adopt, Mr. Clayton Voisin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Motion go back in regular order by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Mr. John Amity. Members, vote your machines. Motion's 9-0, back into regular order. Item C, Ms. Ellen Dosky, Program Administrator with the 32nd JDC Family Preservation Court, would like to present to the council a formal impact report scaling success with 2026 opioid settlement funds that demonstrates the measurable outcomes achieved through the opioid settlement, and would like to present a strategic proposal for the upcoming 2026 funding cycle. Ms. Dosky, name and address for the record.
Thank you very much. Ellen Dosky. I am the Administrator for Family Preservation Court. Address is 7 Claremont Lane, Houma, Louisiana. And I want to start with thanking everyone for hearing us today, and also thanking you for believing in us last year at this time. So if you recall, last year at this time, we came to the council with a proposal to have some of the opiate settlement money that the parish had received to be placed towards the Family Preservation Court. And you granted us $330,000. We were very thankful for that. And this year, as you can see, we're going to tell you exactly what we did with that money, the impact we have made, and our current request. Just to preview, we are trying to do another $330,000 plus another $165,000 for our new housing initiative. We have discovered, or we have learned, and we have seen housing crises in our people who are in recovery can cause a lot of disruption in their family life. It impedes their recovery, and it impedes the reunification. So that is why we are starting our new initiative. If I can, which way do I need to point it? Oh, the right. Okay. So just to give you a little reminder of who we are and what we do, Family Preservation Court serves parents who have involvement with the Department of Children and Family Services plus a substance use disorder. We provide a more intensive treatment program, further additional oversight, and additional judicial accountability It is a voluntary program. People come to us when they want to change their lives, and they understand that it's necessary to change their lives in order to get reunited with their children. With the $330,000 that you gave us last year, we started a new Embrace program. The Embrace program is a perinatal program designed to help mothers who are pregnant, who have a substance use disorder and also want to change their lives, to have a drug-free baby. We are reaching the clients before the Department of Children and Family Services get to them to prevent the removal of a newborn from their mother. So that is what our new program is doing. Those programs are both so enmeshed with each other because we end up serving a lot of the same clients. So what we're doing is our new coming year, we're not changing the structure that we have of Family Preservation Court Embrace and integrate it within the judicial system. The same court oversight is still going to be there. We're still going to have the same practices and the same reporting. What we are working with the courts, and we are working inside the system to provide clear roles and responsibilities for all of our members and all of our participants. In your packet, we have provided you with a listing of what has been spent. We received the money in May of last year. And really, we got kicked off probably in July. We found a place to rent, and we hired some new employees. So we are spending approximately $20,000 of the $330,000 that you gave us last year monthly. In the next quarter, we are intending to add additional expenses. We've added a new case manager, so we now have 3 case managers. She came on to us in December. We've added a new counselor to conduct our groups. We are paying providers, the people who are treating our clients, to come to our staffings, because a lot of our providers are independent businesses. And so if they come to our staffings, they are not seeing patients and are unable to bill. So we'll be giving them a stipend for that. Our state conference is coming up, so we'll be sending some of our employees to be trained in the specialty court program. We've been building out the program in a deliberate and cost-effective manner. We've faced some barriers, primarily being personnel. We need to find qualified counselors who are sensitive to the substance use issues that our clients have. So we've been lucky that we hired someone. With the first round of money, we hired one additional case manager, and then we've hired the third in December. So our other barriers are locating appropriate housing, and the need for that is great. So I'm going to ask Miss Valerie Cooper, who is our coordinator and also our treatment director, to continue with the presentation.
Thank you. Hi, guys and gals. I wanted to let you know the local results, the results of what we've been doing since we started. Since 2021, we've been able to reunite 96 parents with their family. That's over 126 children that were brought back to the family unit. Our success is driven by frequent oversight of court. Every 2 weeks, we're talking with our team and talking with Judge Arsenault. And then we're meeting with the clients. And so they're talking with Judge Arsenault. That makes a huge difference every 2 weeks. Also, we were able to increase the case management load, meaning we have people that are trained that are actually meeting with every single participant, whether it's male, female, whether it's a child, for case management. They come in and we talk about whatever barriers are in their way, moving the barriers and assisting them with whatever they need. And we're also working with constant the expectations and regulations of the program. Just in 2025, and here's the money well spent. Just in 2025 alone, we documented 996 contacts with just about 25 to 30 people. That's a lot. If you divide that and get it, that's 40 contacts And if you do one contact a week, that's 40 contacts out of 52 weeks in the year that we are holding hands, talking to the people that are substance use. We're making sure that they know where to come, where to call, and that's the framework that works in our program. That's what, it's the warm handoff. It's the constant contact. It's the hand-holding to appointments. It's the phone call when they need us to remove a barrier such as transportation. So this is what is happening with our treatment. And I want you to know those contacts have nothing to do with their drug screening and their substance use treatment. That's just strictly working with them within the context of helping their case, helping them unify a little bit more quickly sometimes with their children. So that's working, okay? The other thing where progress breaks is not treatment, not necessarily with treatment, but sometimes what happens is we get the treatment taken care of, and then all of a sudden there's a housing instability. And that housing instability automatically throws them back into the chaos and into the emergency situation that'll bring them to an emergency room, that'll bring them to needing other services around the parish. And so it took us a while to assist with removing the barriers of getting to the primary care doctor, of transportation. And it took us a long time, and we were able to determine that right now the biggest issue has to do with housing, supportive housing. So why should we renew? Why should we ask you to renew now? Basically, we have a program that's working. We have a program that's working. We have a framework that's showing results. We've established partners, referral pathways, and we have a good working rhythm. We're hand-holding. We've made relationships with numerous providers out in the community and different agencies, and those people have given us letters of support that you have in your packet. They've been there, they talk to us, and they see what a lot is going on. Our expansion helps families connect earlier, and that's what we're doing with the Embrace program. We're not waiting for the DCFS removal. We're now being able to reach all women who have a substance use disorder that are bearing a child for a year afterwards, not just to delivery, but for an entire year afterwards. Why housing is an opioid response? Housing stability is opioid abatement because it reduces relapse and triggers. It improves treatment adherence and reduces repeated crisis patterns that drive your emergency departments and instability. We're not proposing a shelter. We're proposing a short-term, accountable, supported housing tied to verified engagement, tied to what's already been built in our community partnerships, already been built. We're protecting reunification and the child safety. Reunification process is really fragile with families that are bouncing between safe housing and unsafe housing, and we see that a lot. Supportive housing protects the children's safety goals and prevents setbacks that increase repeated removals and risks. So I sent an email to our providers, and just so that I could let them know what our plan is. And to be clear, family preservation has now been in existence for 5 years and is expanding reach. We have pioneered an extension program that's called Embrace that aligns with Project Mom, which is just getting started as a state initiative. Embrace that aligns with Mom. Project Mom is mirroring our program and allows us to help a larger population, including pregnant and postpartum parents with substance use disorder. This is phase one of our 3 phases plan. The second phase is what we're working on now. It's requesting extra opioid abatement funds to pilot a program of housing that we identified as a gap in our treatment and outcomes. We plan to set up a small version of a woman's treatment center. Initially, measure the outcomes of reunification and treatment of families and recovery support system, and then phase 3 at some time in the future. We would use these proven strategies, continue the opioid abatement funding request, and get our community partners to become involved in setting up a women's center that would serve the Bayou community and all of the communities that make a part of Region 3. Whenever I was listening to the airport and the excitement of the development that's going on, I was like, wow, just in time, because we're expanding and we're asking for your support to continue to do that. Now I'm going to introduce Sarah.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thank y'all for listening and hearing us. I'm a nurse. I tell that to everybody. 40 years at Chabert. I understand vulnerable population. I understand people in need, and I understand the need for compassion. And I was so glad to leave Chabert to come to this program because it hits at the heart of what I know and what I want. We have developed, I'm over Embrace. I started in the program with all of these connections already made. We have Terrebonne Behavioral Health. We have doctors, we have Bayou community supporting us, we have Catholic Charities. All of this was setting in place. And so what we needed to do was pull in the doctors. And I know y'all asked last year, how are you going to do it? Well, we did. I've got 3 local OBGYNs that work with us. They refer us. I was referred 4 hours before one lady delivered. And in the most fast experience I've ever seen, within 72 hours, she was receiving substance use medication and has thrived. And the national standard is at least 10 days to wait to get in an office. Because of our communication, because of our whole fit, because of all of this already established, we have that. And I have here Dr. Taylor. She's Chief of Pediatrics at Chabert Medical Center. She sees many of our clients, and she's very supportive of our program, innovative, and we have a long list for many years to come. So we hope y'all continue to support. And if you have any questions, she's here as well. So what we're seeing, honestly, when I picked up the Embrace program, it's been about 6 months. And I knew it would start slow because there's a lot of trust that needs to be established. Some of the first clients we got were clients of Family Preservation's friends. They were recommended to us. The established trust with this group, with a judge no less, helped us connect because we were delivering what we promised, support. Some programs, we mentioned the Project Mom. That's a new state Louisiana Department of Health initiative. We are now recognized as one of 2 in the state that align with their program. We do actually more. I thought initially I'd be pointing people in the directions, reassuring them, telling them things and helping them. But what I found that I needed to do, and I love to do, I go to their appointments with them. I settle them down when they're anxious. I tell them, you're 30 minutes late, but we'll get you in. Don't worry, they're going to see you. I walk with them. I reassure them. I tell them, come on, or I'm coming to get you. I've even been in a delivery with their permission. So we connect. We work with each other, and then if they deliver and they need to go into the court system, they're connected to family preservation if they so choose. So it's seamless. We pick up where we left off. One of the things, and our results are great. I accept we have a change, and I think it really emphasizes the need of what we have. I've had 0 removals, I thought, but I'll tell them that. I've had 80% engagement, and we have 30% fathers involved, which is very difficult to get. So I had 0 removals until last week, and one of my clients lost her stable housing. She's homeless, and she cannot safely care for her child without stable housing. And we've been unable to find it. Her children have now been removed, and had we had a place to place her immediately, she wouldn't have, more than likely, would not have had to have her children removed. We would have provided the supportive housing for her. So that's one of the things that why we're asking for this, because it's the missing part in the whole cycle. Because as they've said, if you don't have a supportive, stable house, you don't have expectations, you don't have rules, you're jumping around sofa surfing. You're all over the place and making very difficult and challenging decisions that could affect you even worse. And finally, one thing I learned that I think is very interesting, and I said it in a meeting somewhere, in a state meeting somewhere, you know, there's many programs for first-time moms. There are. That's, you know, we're going to stabilize them. There's nurse visits for first-time moms. We're getting third, fourth, fifth-time moms, but they were not present for their first time. So we're also teaching them these situations that, no, I'm not a first-time mom, but I need to know how to be a mom. I need to know how to go to the doctor, how to advocate for my child, all of these other things. So that is actually a gap that we're starting to recognize in the state. Lots of support for first time, but those that quite weren't in it at that moment, they're left out. So we're going to be working on that as well. So finally, I think that I know that in our phases, we have got a lot that we will be doing, such as crisis nurseries. We'll be looking at different things to support our mothers for success and our fathers. So we thank you for the money, and we hope that you will invest in this next step that could really help us out and complete the cycle, and then share our results and make it larger.
Okay, well, are you guys done?
One more.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to wrap up. What we're asking for is funding from the opioid abatement money that this parish has received and will continue to receive for many, many more years. In November of this year, of 2025, the parish received $927,000. The sheriff received $231,000. That's for the sheriff, that's for law enforcement. What the parish has to decide now is what to do with that $927,000 for this year. In the coming years, the money, just to give you an idea, we are in year 5 of the 21-year projections for the opiate money. Since year 1, the parish has received close to $2.8 million. It's projected that we'll receive over $11 million, 11.5 close to by year 21. We want to make sure that there's something that we can show our future residents, our future citizens, what we did with that money. Family Preservation Court and our Embrace program is exactly the thing that the Opiate Task Force has dedicated this money for. This is not parish money, this is not tax money. This is money that's coming from the litigation resulting from the opiate crisis. So as you can see, the breakdown of what we're requesting for is a continuation of the funding that we received last year, plus an additional $165,000 for our first phase of our supportive housing. Thank you. And I have Judge Arsenault is here as well if he wants to make any statements.
Okay, Judge?
I promise I will speak less than any of these wonderful ladies. I didn't realize, I've been presiding over the Family Preservation Court now for 5 years. We've done some wonderful things, and they were sort of brought into focus, even for me here tonight. I want you to pay close attention to one of the things that you were told. You know, people who participate in Family Preservation Court, and we're at 26. I think I just signed off on another report. We're at 26 active participants. Those folks receive treatment 9 hours a week on average, each 9 hours a week. They see me twice a month. They drug test 2 to 3 times a week. And then above and beyond that, 40 contacts a year with the personnel of Family Preservation Court, trying to help them, direct them in the right path to address the addiction problems that they have. And as the staff here has pointed out to you, one of the biggest problems with the obstacles that some of our participants face is housing. And I want to tell you, it's particularly affecting the women. And of course, most of the people in Family Preservation Court are women. They're not all of them. There are a lot of men involved, fathers, but most of them are women. Fathers have some avenues for housing. For example, you have the Assisi Bridge House, which helps fathers who have drug issues. But the women in the parish are having a particularly hard time addressing housing issues. And as you can imagine, someone who has an addiction problem, who's on the path to recovery, one of the things that we try to avoid is stress in their lives that comes from lack of housing, lack of transportation, trying to get back their children, trying to get a driver's license, trying to get a GED. These stressors aren't helping them address the addiction problem. We're trying to teach them how to deal with it. But it's hard to address that problem with someone who has an addiction problem when they have to sleep in their car. Remember, a lot of these people have families who have given up on them. And so they don't have that resource that they can go to. And just one fact that I learned in the course of presiding over Family Preservation Court, a lot of the housing that would be available for women in this town will not accept women who have a criminal record. Well, you show me an addict and I'll show you somebody with a criminal record. Possession of cocaine, possession of heroin, possession of drug paraphernalia, et cetera, et cetera. How are they supposed to get housing if they have a criminal record, and they have the criminal record because they're an addict and they're trying to stay on that path and avoid using, and they're running into this obstacle with the housing? The money, of course, that the Family Preservation Court and the Embrace Program is seeking is money from the opiate fund, settlement funds. It's not money from the taxpayers of Terrebonne Parish or taxpayers anywhere. It's the opioid settlement funds that were to be distributed throughout the country to places like Terrebonne Parish for programs like the one that we have. So we need some of that money to figure out how we can provide for temporary housing for the people who are in our program. This is not people just to help addicts who are out there on the street. It's to help the people that are voluntarily participating in a program to address their addiction problem, to get their children back and straighten their lives out. And if we can provide some housing, it's going to go a long way toward eliminating some of the stresses that make that just all that more difficult for them. So I hope you'll favorably consider the request. The last thing I'm going to say, and I think I'm getting close to as long as they talk, I want to thank those of you who have taken the time to come down to the courthouse and witness some of the things that we've done. Many of you here on the council have come down. You've seen the people who are participating in our program, and I think you would have to agree that it's amazing what you see. We've invited you down there to see how we operate, so you'll know what's going on. And many, if not most of you, have come down there and shown us that respect. And I want you to know it has not gone unnoticed, and I very much appreciate it. With that, I'm going to stop. All right? Thank you all very much.
Hey, thank you, Judge. And sure, go ahead, Ms.
I
Kayla.
would love Dr. Taylor to share her thoughts because she's an amazing person and creative and really does a great job with our clients.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Kaylee Taylor. I was born and raised here in Houma, and I've come back to Josh's testament earlier, to be a part of this community and to be a voice for the community and for kids in the community. If I could describe the emotions of tonight and the emotions of this journey and coming back home, I think the word I choose is hope. And hearing and seeing the youth and hearing Josh and talking about the airport and hearing this Embrace program and the 32nd Judicial Court and hope. And so I want to talk about hope for just a moment because hope is a lot. Hope is the last lifeline. Hope is a strong drug for no pun intended, but hope is strong, right? And so I get to see a lot of moms come in with their babies in clinic, and sometimes it's hard because I'm also the scary person because you're the person that gets to call DCFS, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to call DCFS. That's the last thing I want to do. When we're at the point of calling DCFS, it's no fun for me, it's no fun for you. And so if I can find a way to not, then let's find that way, right? Let's work together. Let's work together as a community. About a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I had a mom come in and she was facing life, substance use disorder, unstable housing, and was thinking about what were going to be her next steps in this life or whether she should continue on with this life. And I said, why are you still here with me then? Why are you here? And her answer to me was hope. This baby has given me hope that I can move forward. And in that moment, I had to find a place for this mom to go that was safe and also safe for this baby, right? In that moment, I had to make the decision of if I take this baby away by calling DCFS, I've taken away the hope, right? And so we found stable housing through community partners, but it was hard. And it was hard to find housing for a baby. And so this Embrace program and these projects are important because it provides that care to continue the hope and the hope for the future. Because that mom is allowed to care for that baby. That mom is allowed to see that baby grow and allowed to dream what a bigger dream of recovery looks like for her. But it also allows for that baby to feel loved and nurtured because we know that love and nurture and care also affect the baby's development. And if love and nurture and care aren't there, then the risk of developmental delay also increases. And so this program means a lot to me, and I am thankful for your support in the past, but I would love to see the support in the future and the future hope that it provides for our community. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, we have a few lights here, if you guys are finished now. Okay, we have a few lights. Might have some questions, I'm not sure, but I'm sure you guys will have some answers for us. Mr. Kevin Champon.
Yes, thank you. I'm one of the councilmen that has been able to visit, go to the graduations, talk to Ellen and Sarah and Valerie, and see the great work that they're doing. I'm also, unfortunately, see the back end of the impact that pregnant mothers have and the impact on DCF, kids being removed by the work that I do every day. And any one kid that you save from being removed is a great impact because I get more referrals than we could ever deal with. Dr. Taylor also sees our children at McDonald, and she can tell you about the physical impacts that our kids have when their parents were drug abusers, and that's a lifelong thing for those kids that we have to help with. So I appreciate what you do, and I love the growth, the slow growth, and very intentional, finding the gaps in services that we talk about that you see every day, and there's a huge need in what you do, and I appreciate everything you do, and I'm wholeheartedly support y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Champon. Mr. Harding.
I'm going to actually start off with something because generally you've done your research in reference to how much money we're dealing with, and you're making a request of an additional 165, right? Then, so we look here, and I have to look down to Miss Candace Marlin, who's very, I tell you what, she does a great job in reference to not only looking after the money, distributing the money, and then the money that comes in, how we can apply it. And to perhaps come back at a later date or whatever, we can do it now, but it's not going to be tonight to make the decision. I'm sure of that, because we got to see what we're able to do. And to be realistic about your request is the fact that, believe it or not, in my heart, I'm with you. But then, guess what? That money that comes in, there are other people requesting it too. And so that's where I'm at here. Whereas, number one, to find out when $11 million, and I've heard, and Mr. Hamner, he's Budget and Finance Chairman right now, we've been actually trying to get a hold to how we make our distributions and who we distribute it to, who's making a request of certain monies. We had a meeting last night with some people of the public, and in fact, they didn't have the understanding. They had the expectation that they see $11 million, but then how can that $11 million be actually applied? And I think perhaps there are other people. I'm gonna put you in it, Ms. Malden. There are some factors that involved with this money. Is it something that $11 million that they made the report? Is that going to be something that's guaranteed? I remember we were saying we were getting X amount of dollars for a certain amount of time. There were other agencies that actually wanted some of that money, and how would we distribute that money? My thing is, if they're going to be here and we actually go forward into 2027 and be consistent, if we're going to actually keep upping the price or whatever, we can actually give them something to sustain, whereas it can be annually that we actually budget this. But then what is the process that we would actually have to go through for that?
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Malden.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Harding. So this is new and it's not new to us. It's the opioid settlement money has been coming in for the past couple of years. We are trying to come up with exactly what you're asking, is how do we, now that we know that we are consistently getting some money in from these settlements, we're starting to sign some more documents for other cases, class action lawsuits that we'll get the funding from. So we still don't have a consistent, you're going to get X amount of dollars every 3 months or X amount of dollars every 6 months. We have a better idea of how it's coming in and when it's coming in, but we are in the process of trying to come up with a plan of how do we determine who's going to get part of the money, and is it an annual thing or is it not, and those kind of things. So I think now that there is some consistency and there's some increases in what we're getting, we're working on all of that. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to put that together, but that is kind of where we are.
And I can promise you that, man, I'm with it, because in your presentation, I saw that it said that in overall drugs in statewide, Terrebonne Parish is 7th.
Correct. Yes, sir.
But opioids, we're 4th. So therefore, we got a bigger problem than just actually giving out money, receiving money and actually giving it. Because some of these agencies and the money that we actually have and some of the other projects that we actually have, everyone has to put in. And that's the concept there, how we do it. Because in my neighborhood, Mr. Champagne mentioned what he has to offer and how he has applied himself. And Ms. Taylor, she applies herself in another way. When you say opioids, people think opioid is just opioids. My biggest problem in my community that I deal with is all of it. But the most devastating thing that I see, when you say opioid, my devastating thing that I have to deal with is the use of heroin. So when people are saying that, you're saying opioids and the money that you're gonna have, does that separate itself, categorize it, or are we just going across the board? Just.
Yes, sir. So this is opioid, that's what the shorthand term is the opioid crisis. That's what started this funding process in the lawsuits itself, which is where the money originates from. But you're correct. We see all sorts of drug use, substance use. We had a client which was strictly alcohol. alcohol can be a debilitating substance that prevents you from parenting your child. So just because alcohol is legal, just because marijuana is a prescribed drug you can get a card for, doesn't mean that it doesn't prevent you from parenting your child. If you have an addiction, it is. And so we kind of say, in tongue in cheek a little bit, thank God for the opioid crisis, because now it's funding entire drug treatment programs. But just to go back to your comment about how do we apply this money for the coming years, I'm in full support of having some sort of plan and having everyone come to the table that deals with these issues and come up with a plan. We would be happy to be involved in that, and to I encourage the council to do just that, to come up with a task force of some sort to determine how it's going to be distributed over the next years.
Yeah, and lastly, and that's where I'm at, because there are a lot of agencies that we can actually have, and hopefully other areas that we have relationships with organizations that we can actually help each other out and share the cost. And that's the approach. So I'm supporting it across the board. Sometimes denial is never no. It's just a fact. Denial means we have to take some time to figure it out.
Sure.
Thank
And
you.
like I said, we received our monies in May, so we have monies up until that time to continue our program. So that's why we're here today, trying to get a jump on it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harding, Ms. Kim Chauvin?
Okay, so I have a few questions. Candace, a couple for you, and then I'm going to have a couple on that end. One, I did want to say that I'm glad that the mother that was delivering the baby got help so immediately, and I pray that the child also got the help that it needed and is doing well today. But when we're looking at this pot of money, it is going to be one of those things where we have to prioritize whether we're going to, and I think it needs to be in two separate things, because you have police for a reason and they need to be well equipped to handle that too. And in this case, also helping those who are in addiction and the children. So I think there's a twofold for that. Candace, what would be the time to come for this money? Like, when do we sit down to figure this out? Because I keep, like, it's coming at this time, but we did budget at another time. So when is the opportune time to sit down to have this discussion so that we can look at what it funds for this part of it and what it would fund for this program?
Right. So, Ms. Chauvin, I don't know that I have an answer for you for that, because, again, it hadn't been very consistent. So we have received the deposit that they referred to. Unfortunately, it kind of fell in between the whole budget amendments, and we didn't have 2 weeks in between and all of that, so we weren't able to recognize it. So we do have that pot of money right now that we can discuss to allocate out. I think it's part of a bigger picture and a bigger conversation, and that's kind of where we need to get to.
Okay, so in the 2 years that you've been getting it, you're saying it's absolutely inconsistent. 3 months you receive one sum, another 3 months you receive another different sum.
So I don't want to say that it's been completely inconsistent. It's been where we didn't really know it was coming until it came. But I can definitely go back and kind of do and see if it has been, every 3 months or every 6 months. And
okay.
I do think it's getting, I think the state now knows what to expect as well. It's coming in, from the settlements and stuff. So we're starting to get a little bit more guidance in it.
Okay. All right. So then this is going to come to you. The housing that you're talking about, is this like a sober living kind of thing, or are you going to go like person by person? So I hear that you're saying 30% of the fathers are involved. So that means there's a lot of women out there without the father involved. Are you doing something where you would put women together with their kids to help them to work together? Like, because I could see something in that part of it where when one has to go to work, it could help the other one, kind of work together as a unit. But I'm kind of wondering, how do you break that out with the 165? And look, you may not be able to tell it to me here tonight. I would love to see, the information so that I can I can, like kind of get into it and digest that. And I'm sure my fellow council people would like to see that too, so that we could break out that 165 and what it looks like. And do describe
Check
how
in
you're
your
going to do it.
packet, in your
Okay, it's in
packet.
it.
It is spelled out completely
Okay.
to the,
Mine, yeah.
so.
But to your
I-
question,
And I would love to get together with you and show
Yes.
you
Okay.
how we did.
but to your question is whether this is a sober living house. It is not a sober living house. We're considering this a transitional supportive housing. Sober living, for those who may not be familiar with it, are residents run by residents. So they can move into the home, but they govern themselves. And they're owned by a company and they have to pay rent, but the residents themselves will govern themselves. They'll have the meetings. What we're looking at is something a little bit higher level. It's not a rehab, but it's when you come out of rehab or when you're stabilizing and you're in a treatment program, then you would be there. But the idea would be that we would also be supervising on a daily basis as to
Okay.
what's happening in that home. This is a startup.
Okay.
The bigger picture is much broader.
Okay.
It would be for women and children, and also pregnant women.
Okay. Okay. So my next question would be, and maybe Jason or Noah can answer this. So I've heard that we don't have housing in our parish for like moms with kids if they needed that type of help, if they have a criminal record. Is this true?
I can share my experience.
Okay.
We had several clients that initially went into Beautiful Beginnings, and we thought that was the avenue to help with housing, temporary housing. But as we went to go ahead and send some other people, they were denied, and it took us a while to figure out what the denial was about. And it was about the fact that they had a criminal record.
Okay.
Okay, and so then we looked back at what the criminal records were, and a lot of them had to do with just strictly drug type things. And so that was denied. Since then, Ms. Kelly said, just call and we'll see if we can, try to work through some of that.
Okay.
But it's been problematic.
Okay.
And one of the other restrictions of Beautiful Beginnings, because it is a family shelter, it's designed for women or men with their children. Our clients don't necessarily have custody of their children.
Okay.
And so we're looking for that time period where they can stabilize so that they can have their children move in with them. But in the beginning, they don't have their children with them because they're located somewhere else.
Okay. So, and my next part, and then I'm done. So I'm not in the belief that every parent should parent their kids. I'm really not. I've watched a lot. I've seen a lot. I've lived in this world where I've seen some stuff, and personally, I raised my own grandchildren because I'm not going to allow that to encompass in their life. I want them to have a good start, a good go at it. That doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that don't deserve their kids and try to work towards it. I think that it's a good goal in that. So I would tell you that I hope that you are focusing a lot on the kids, because the mental part of what they're having to go through is traumatic. I watched this in my own grandkids. I applaud you guys for doing what you're doing. I think that we need to sit down with Ms. Candace. I think we need to sit down with the other side of the table to see what they're going to need and what you're going to need, and find a way to work together to help our people in our parish so that they become productive and the kids are okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Chauvin, Ms. Candace, Mr. Steve Trosclair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, I'm looking at your FBC expansion program cost breakdown, and I know the request for 160-something thousand, and this totals out to 134,000. But you're showing it from May of 26 to January 26. So my question is.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is, There's a discrepancy because of the months, starting in May, and it's not a full fiscal year. And the second thing is May the time frame that you guys are asking for this money?
So you approved the money in, I believe it was January or February of 2025. We went through some discussions with the administration as to how that money would be distributed, and also the MOUs and the memo of understanding. So we didn't receive the money until May.
Okay.
So that's why we're showing where we've spent the money, because we
Okay.
couldn't spend it until we had
And that's
it
fine.
in hand.
Okay, and look, I totally support the program, and I'm gonna ask the administration to make, to do what it takes to get this money to you guys. The 330 plus the 165. I'm total support, and I feel like most of my colleagues up here would be with me on this. So that's where I just want to clarify the the differences in what was on this spreadsheet as opposed to what you're asking for.
Yes.
And the 5 months from January to May.
And we went based on when we received it. That's when we started spending it.
That's fine. Thanks a lot. Appreciate what y'all doing.
Thank you, Mr. Trosclair. Mr. Danny Babb.
Yeah, in the, we need to be cognizant of this. In the opioid settlement, it's spelled out that it could be for enforcement and education. You tell me, I'm asking.
So there is an MOU that was created when they developed the opiate task force, and there's approximately, it's about 8 to 9 pages of suggested uses.
Okay.
One of those uses is housing for substance use, treatment, using best practices, and they give a ton of examples. And one of it is to support law enforcement as well. But we have to remember that the way the opiate settlement was decided by the Attorney General at the time was that he gave 20% automatically to the sheriff's office. And then he left the remaining amount to the parish councils to determine how to use it. So law enforcement is already getting the 20%. And I have the numbers of how much our sheriff's office has received in the past 5 years. So if you're interested in that. So law enforcement is being provided with funds.
Well, my point in bringing that up is there's going to be a pocket of money. We want to make sure that we don't get this convoluted and get out to other things that it shouldn't be given to. I mean, if law enforcement is getting their share, and they need it, all right, there's no doubt about that. But the education and treatment is another area, and they have to work in consort with each other, in my opinion.
I agree.
But we want to be aware up here that we're not allowing some money to go to something that should not be. And that's what we need to watch out for. I go back to the SSI money, okay? Originally, that was instituted for crippled children way back when. And look what it is today. It's not just for crippled children. So I just want to make sure that we as a council are aware and cognizant of what the opioid settlement said the money can go, and we apply it to that. And as far as the inconsistency in the money, I think I go along with Candace and what she said. The state is better understanding now when the money's going to come in, so it does filter down to all of the, to us. And I'm, of course, in 100% agreement. All you ladies and the judge do a wonderful job, and I have the luxury of living down the street from Dr. Taylor, okay? And I know if she's involved, it's 150%, okay? So, and all of you guys are. So thank you very much for what you do for the community, because a lot of people don't see it, all right? We see it in places like this, but we don't see it on a day-to-day basis. So there, consequently, we forget about it on a day-to-day basis.
And Mr. Babin, I'll be happy to send you the MOU that was
Good.
published,
I
and
would.
it'll explain exactly what it can
Good.
be
Thank you
used
very
for.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Champagne.
Yeah, so I know y'all, I guess I'm a little more intimate with this because I've been talking to Ellen for a couple years about this and how this is going. But there are other parishes that have created task force, and I've shared that with our administration of how they decide and who's part of the decision-making of how to split up the money that's coming to their parish. And so we've had these conversations, and they were in the process of, okay, how do we create this task force? Who sits on the task force? How does the money need to be divvied up? And those discussions have started. It was very beginning, but yeah, because I knew this was coming and talking to Ellen for a while, that there is an idea of how much money is coming, but like Candace said, you never know when it's coming. So, but there is other parishes, and we could use their framework of how to decide where the money goes.
Thank you, Mr. Champagne. Mr. Harding?
And
Hold
that was my point in the beginning, is the fact that, so you mentioned the sheriff's office, but we have the Houma Police Department. So, you know, I mean, you have to even factor that in too, and how we have to do that. So that's the position that I was in. We want to make sure that we actually, let's say, spread the wealth evenly and actually rely on each other to actually make the progress. Even further down the line, and maybe I'm talking a little bit too much. Usually when you say that, you're talking too much. But then I want to say this, because we have a lot of adjudicated property and a lot of circumstances that we come in here. Maybe our forward thinking that we can actually partner with you guys and see what we can do. Because like the conversation was last night, we might not have enough money to build, but we take existing facilities, places, or buildings that we actually have and try to actually do what we could to do that. So all of those things are on the table. It's just the fact that we just want everyone to be conscious that we're supporting you, but then there are other agencies that we have to support also.
And I think that was why I presented the three-phase process, because we know phase one is sound. We've got the program Family Pres, and we've got Embrace, and we've got partnerships with the phase two. That's why we put it that way, and now we want to make sure that the supportive housing is truly done in best practices, because that's going to be the success of it. And that's why we're taking our time. In the future, we're hoping to have one of the top women's programs in the area, in this area, because we know it's needed and we know the support is there. And our letters of support from the community show that they're interested in helping us out. We've been in numerous talks with the big picture also. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harding. Ms. Chauvin again?
Okay, so that was one of the things I was gonna mention, HPD. So they don't get anything from the sheriff, just so that we're all aware. So HPD sits by itself, the sheriff has its own part of it. And they do need monies too, to fight or to deal with the drug situation. So this is one of the things that, that I would begin to really like start reeling from in this whole part of it, is if the funding stopped, how do you continue on, one? And second, I hope that we move from women to a full-fledged family event, because I would love to see where it's mothers and fathers and kids together when we do this. But I really would look to see that you start to begin to think what happens when the funding dries up, because eventually it may. How do you propose to move forward? And it's not a question for you to answer today, because that's going to take a wealth of stuff, but it's a conversation that we definitely need to have. It's why I said we need to look at the priorities. We need to sit down with HPD. We need to sit down with our administration. We need to sit down with you guys so that we can figure out how to work this to better our parish as a whole. Thank you. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chauvin. Mr. Voisin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been listening to everything. So the 330,000 y'all have received, or and going to receive in the future, correct?
We received it in May of 2025. We're asking for a renewal this year.
Okay. So you're here for a renewal and an addition.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So obviously, that 330 round last year came out of that opioid fund money.
Yes, sir.
So obviously, it's a credible with that money, right, going to y'all. There's no issue that it shouldn't have came out of that bank of money.
No, I don't see any issue. In fact, specialty courts are specifically listed in the MOU that explains the types of programs you can fund with that money.
Yeah, And I would definitely say with this esteemed panel of people, include the judge and a doctor, I would be hard pressed to believe that y'all shouldn't get these dollars from that fund, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Just want to clarify one thing. The participants,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if y'all call them patients, participants, or what
We use the
proper
term participants or clients, yes.
Okay. Are they in the program to avoid other circumstances?
Just to let you know, our program is totally voluntary. Our participants, and we call them participants because it's their choice. There's other programs that do the same type of things in drug court, veterans courts, different things like that. They all have different, once you're in drug court, you're in drug court. And there's sanctions and there's incentives and things like that. Our participants have the dignity of choice. And they choose to do better. And that's a big part of it. So, yes.
So if at some point they opt out, they're not going to suffer any other legal repercussions for not participating, correct?
That's correct. And if they do opt out of our Family Preservation Court, then their DCFS case continues. And if they complete that case plan and they do what DCFS asked them to do, they can have their children back.
Yeah.
And so it's just that we are there to do that intensive treatment, whereas DCFS provides them with a case plan and says, here, go find somebody to treat you. We do more hand-holding and we do a lot more personalized treatment plans.
I'm going to say, and this is my bias, the drug problem did not start with this opioid abatement crap. I'm sorry. We have been chasing drugs and since we've been around for a millennia. And the problem is we've always chased the drug instead of healing the person who has a substance use disorder that has finally been shown to be a brain issue, a brain illness. And once that person becomes sick, they're going to need total behavior modification, treatment, and a whole lot of hand-holding because their brain's been hijacked. They cannot make the right decision. As much as they tell you they're going to make the right decision, they're looking for the next fix, not to get high, to live. Because that's the seriousness of the issue, whether it's alcohol, whether it's heroin, whether it's an opioid, or the biggest one right now that's coming is the methamphetamine use. And that's requiring some medical assisted treatment. So it's time that we stop chasing the drug or arresting the drug or punishing the drug. That does not work.
Yeah.
As we've seen.
Yeah.
This works.
I
Thank y'all.
I appreciate that. I'd just like to say that because of the fact that the way your program operates, right, we don't have folks running from something, right, other than the addiction. That's it. There's no other repercussions other than the addiction if they get out of the program. With that being said, I really like the program because I am a huge advocate for law enforcement, which is most of my colleagues up here are the same. But at the same token, I look at y'all program and I think it can alleviate some of the issues that law enforcement has to deal with. So I think it can work for both sides. So I don't ask myself, you know, how are we going to get the 165 extra? I ask myself, how can we say no to that? That's my point of view on it. We have to find these dollars to enhance our program, not only to help these people, but also to assist law enforcement. Because y'all can take some of this burden, no matter how small it might be percentage-wise. Every time somebody gets arrested for these charges, these type of charges, it's a huge problem, right? And it costs lots of money.
And it,
So thank y'all.
it also reduces ED visits, all of those emergency crisis. It reduces NICU care, all withdrawal of these substance children that struggle through all of that and have lasting implications. So getting down at the root helps alleviate the rest.
And just one more thing, if you can just clarify with a yes or no answer. When you originally came for the money, right, and it was given to you, you came with what we can do with this money. Would y'all say yes or no that you've accomplished the goals that you set with that original 330,000? Y'all met all those, exceeded. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Foisant. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, just one more thing. I want to get it clear in my mind. The number 900,000 has been kicked around, and we talk about 20% going to the sheriff. I just want to make sure is that 20% of the money that the state sends down automatically goes to the sheriff. The 900,000 is our net amount if we're going to use that figure. I'm not holding that figure, okay? It doesn't have to take $180,000 out of that 900,000 for the sheriff. So that's a net amount of money that needs to be, that we as a council and the government can distribute between projects like this and HPD.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because when we got the 920, when the parish got the 927, the sheriff got $231,916. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now, I took a few notes, and I'll be the last one, hopefully, unless these guys have something else. But just so there's a little bit of clarity on this, and I do thank you guys for all that you're doing in this program. And by me coming out to visit and actually hearing and seeing what, the results or the labors of the fruits of your labor, it was very inspirational for me because, as probably with a lot of us, we've dealt with, dependency issues in our families and things like that. So just for clarity, and I also think it needs to be noted that we ask about the participants that are in this program. I think when I visited you guys, there was a participant that was actually in the program that works for the program or is closely involved with the program currently. So that speaks volumes right there. You had someone who was actually out there and now they're on the inside helping other folks. So I think that needs to be noted. Also, we kind of reference and talk about the payment schedule and the distributions of the funds and all that. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's legally, it's binding that this is supposed to take place. It started in 22, and it's supposed to have a payment schedule through 2038, if I'm not mistaken. The funds to be, they're going to be broken up over those years, 18 years, I think it is.
It's actually 21 years.
21 years, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I want to be clear. So it's supposed to be over 21 years. Now, McKeeson and Cardinal Health, they're the distributors of those funds. We're concerned about, is this money going to last? Is it going to, if there's a hang up or something like that, is it possible for us to, or someone to sort of reach out to them and see the validity of this? Is it going to last, or do we know of any hiccups, or what are we looking at? We can forecast, should I say, because we can kind of explain to them, listen, we have these types of programs that we're implementing, and we would just like to know if there's, anything that they can foresee us, having a hiccup in the next 10 years, 15 years, or something like that?
I think that would be a better question asked to the task force themselves who are distributing it. But I got the latest projections from the task force through year 2021, and I can share that as well. I received this around November because I asked for it. So it gives you projections starting from year 1 all the way through year 21. And they do have some caveats, and also as lawyers, we all know that things can happen. Companies can go bankrupt. But most of these settlement funds are structured settlements coming from drug companies. There are some other cases that haven't been settled against particular companies as of yet, but those are coming down the pipeline. And so what I think would happen more than amounts would be reduced, I think the amounts might increase because of those settlements that have not come through. And in fact, last year, we were told that the parish was going to get a certain amount of money, but they actually received double that amount because of the funds that they received.
Okay.
Because of the settlements that were closed.
Okay.
So there's caveats to any kind of projections. Y'all do projections all the time for tax basis, right? And it's the same case. You might have a banner year for taxes and have more money than you think. You might have lesser, depending on what the economic circumstances are. So these are just projections, but I can share that with you as well.
Okay. I'll let Ms. Candace get in there. if
Thanks,
she got
Mr.
something to
Pledger.
say.
We do have the projections, but I want to also remind everyone that we do have attorneys that are representing us in all of these class action lawsuits. And I would request that we would have them reach out if there would be any communication. Just want to remind us that they are representing us. We do have the projections, and that's what we are going to plan on using when we're talking about how are we going to allocate it now that we're getting the money and we know we're getting it and it's consistent and all of those things. So that is all part of this process that we're working on. But definitely, if we're reaching out to anybody, let's kind of run that through my office. That way we can get the right legal representation and ask the right questions how we need to ask them.
Absolutely. Now, I wasn't suggesting at all that, I'm going to, I have no clue. I
Just
wouldn't lean on
reminding
you guys.
everybody that
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what we have.
And that's a very good point. But one last thing is, now we have 20%, it's been designated or already put in place that 20% goes to the sheriff and 80% comes to the local municipality. Now, we do have the Houma Police Department too as well. And everybody, we're all, we all want to help our law enforcement by way of the Houma Police Department. But I would also lean on the side of there's a way that we could possibly use that same model of 20% or whatever it is, could be more for the Houma Police Department, maybe not the whole 80 to this, to this program. And, there's lawyers and all kinds of other stuff we have to take care of, but to just use that same model here within the municipality too as well, of working towards getting everybody a little bit of help or a piece of the pie so we can do what we have to do to fight this problem.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to say that we're not asking for the whole amount. We never have intended to ask for the whole. If you gave us the whole amount, we wouldn't know what to do with it, tell you the truth.
Right.
We would need to build up our program, and which we've been trying to do. But it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of resources in order to spend resources.
Yes.
And that's what we're learning. And so if anything, that we would be happy to help with the discussion as far as who should get the money within the parish. And there are excellent programs. There's some that are not so excellent. So we need to consider all of those.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great opportunity to kind of get everybody together at the table to try to make these things happen. My last thing is, I know the judge is sitting over there and he probably, he's going to grimace and he's going to look at me when I say this, but I was part of I guess when you let everybody know that in a year, Judge Arsenault is going, well, that's down to days now.
It's 323.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. In 323 days, he's going to be leaving. But what I learned was we had at the time Judge Tim Ellender. He was onboarding to sort of take over for Judge Arsenault, and I also learned that Judge Pickett was a part of working with you guys too as well. So I really do think that we have a great bench here in Terrebonne Parish. Thank you for all that you've done Judge Arsenault. I know you're probably not going to be finished, but at the same time, we hope your wife lets you stick around a little bit longer with us. That's still out for debate. Not only that, but Ms. Dosky, everybody needs a Ms. Cooper on their team. The nurse, Sarah here, Dr. Taylor, thanks for all that you guys do, and I just want to share about Dr. Taylor. Outside of this, she's very passionate in what she does. She's called me. We've helped someone outside of all this. She made me cry. We were crying on the phone together. So what you do, Dr. Taylor, it doesn't go unnoticed. And for you guys to have her on your team and all you guys, thank you for what you do. And, onward, Terrebonne Parish.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. No one else? That's it? All right, good deal. Item D, a motion to amend the condemnation order originally adopted on October 14, 2025 on the residential structure located at 6178 Grand Caillou Road, owned by estate of John N. Verdun, Ernest Joseph Verdun, Paul Jerry Verdun, and Kathy Ann Verdun by changing the deadline to complete demolition and/or removal from December 16, 2025 to March 31st, 2026. Move Mr. Danny Babin, second Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item 2, public wishing to address the council in accordance with Section 2-07E of the Terrebonne Parish Home Rule Charter. The public will be heard and can speak for 3 minutes on any matter related to parish government without discussion or questions and answers on non-agenda items. I have one speaker card. I'm sorry? Okay. I'll still read it. It was a Mr. Chris Schwess, 1912 Slater Street, Houma, Louisiana. He wanted to discuss one-way on East Park. He left us already, so. Item 3, committee reports, Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Clyde Hamner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make the motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee held on Monday, February 9th, 2026. I have 7 public hearings. Number 1, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement. I have to excuse me, I got the hiccups. So every now and then you'll hear me. A cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Dara Bennett for the continuation right of use of 1414 Dr. Beatrice Road, Terrio, Louisiana, 70397, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program within Terrebonne Parish, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th at 6:30 p.m. Number 2, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Toby Henry for the continuation right of use of 4644 Bayou-Side Drive, Chauvin, Louisiana, 70344, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program within Terrebonne Parish, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th at 6:30 p.m. Number 3, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Kenneth and Mona Chapon for the continuation right of use of 6103 Grand Caillou Road, Houma, Louisiana, 70363, as part of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Program within Terrebonne Parish, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Number 4, an ordinance to declare as surplus adjudicated property located at Bayou Caillou, WW parcel number 27658, in which the parish has 35%, and to address other matters relative thereto, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Number 5, an ordinance to declare as surplus and to authorize the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government to surplus vehicles no longer needed for fire protection for public purposes to the Terrebonne Parish Fire District Number 8 for fire protection in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, and to authorize the Terrebonne Parish President to execute the necessary documents to effectuate the donation and to provide for relative matters and call a public hearing on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Number 6, an ordinance authorizing to amend Section 2 y'all stop, -406E through G in Article 13 of Chapter 2 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances, Cultural Facilities, to enact a provision to authorize the parish president to waive rental fees at the Barry P. Bonvillain Civic Center for government entities, housing, civic, safety, educational, health, and economic events which are made open to the public, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. And number 7, an ordinance to amend the 2026 adopted operating budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following item: CDBG DR program income projects, $8,307,285, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clyde Hammer, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Item B, Community Development and Planning Committee, Mr. Kevin Champon.
Thank you, Mr.
Give me a
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee held on Monday, February 9th, 2026, and I have no public hearings.
Motion by Mr. Champon, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Vote 7-0, motion passes. Public Service Committee, Mr. John Amity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just so that Mr. Hamner doesn't feel alone, I'll speak like I have the hiccups as well.
Yeah, but yours was from drinking.
Right. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Public Services Committee held on Monday, February 9th, 2026, and I have 2 public hearings. The first is an ordinance to authorize the acquisitions of sites and/or servitudes required for the Brady Road Bridge Replacement Project 20-BRG-33, to authorize the parish president or his designee, the chief administrative officer, to execute any and all documents necessary to acquire sites and/or servitudes for the said purposes, to authorize the parish legal staff to commence expropriation proceedings in the event the sites and/or servitudes cannot be obtained conventionally, to declare that the taking, if required, is necessary or useful for the benefit of the public, and to provide for other matters relative thereto, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Second, ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances to establish a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit zone along the entirety of South Dupree Street in Montague, Louisiana, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Motion by Mr. John Amity, second by Mr. Danny Babin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Item 4, streetlights. Proof. Motion, Mr. John Amity, second Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Item 5, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. Item A, Fire District Number 7 Board, 1 expired term. Mr. Robert Henry submits application and resume for consideration. Motion to open, close Open, close, and appoint Mr. Henry by Ms. Kim Chauvin, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0. Congratulations to Mr. Henry. Item B, Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, 4 expiring terms on 2/23/26. Mr. Patrick Gordon expresses his interest in being reappointed. Ms. Connie Berg expresses her interest in being reappointed.
Open, close, and reappoint Mr. Gordon and Ms. Berg and hold the other 2 over.
Open, close, and appoint Mr. Gordon and Mr. Berg and hold the other 2 over by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0. Congratulations to Mr. Gordon and Ms. Connie Berg. Ms. Connie, would you like to say something? Come on. Name and address for the record.
Connie Berg, 5953 Alma Street. Thank y'all for putting me back on the tree board. I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's been a pleasure getting Terrebonne Parish in shape.
Thank you, Ms. Berg. Item C, Home and Restoration District, 1 expired term due to a resignation. Dr. Jeffrey Rao submits application and resume for consideration. Motion to open, close, and appoint Dr. Rao, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Congratulations to Dr. Rao. Item 6, monthly engineering reports. Milford and Associates Incorporated. As per Ms. Kim Chauvin. Second, Mr. Clayton Voisin. Members, vote your machines. 9-0. Motion passes. Item 7, notice of meetings. A, approve the attendance of the council staff to the LAMSA 36th Annual Spring Conference to be held at the Courtyard by Marriott in Houma, Louisiana from March 18th to March 20th, 2026, as per the current travel policy. Move, Mr. Steve Trosclair, second. Mr. Clyde Hamner. Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Item 8, vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. Recreation District number 323 Board, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Recreation District number 3A Board, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Recreation District number 5 Board, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Recreation District number 8 Board, 1 expired term on 2/24/26. Coteau Fire Protection District Board, 1 expired term and 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Houma Municipal Fire and Police Civil Service Board, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Terrebonne Arc, 1 vacancy due to a resignation representing the parish president. Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, 2 expiring terms on 2/23/26. Houma Restoration District, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Terrebonne Parish Advisory Committee for Disability Affairs Board, 9 vacancies representing each of the following entities: 1 representing TARC, 1 representing Start Corporation, 1 representing Options for Independence, 2 representing the parish president, and 4 representing the general public. Motion to adjourn, Mr. Kevin Charles Champagne, second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Members, vote your machines.